I'm the interviewer, and I'm Judy LaPorte. I am interviewing Lorraine Mathiesen today here in Newbury, and I would like to have your name and what date you were born, where you were born.
Not the actual date, just
No,
the year.
well, the year you were born.
Okay.
So
1935. I was born in Concord.
And at the time, your parents lived here in Newbury?
They might have been here then. I would have to look at this to be sure, but
So do you want to simply read what you've written down for memories?
I can read it. You want me to read it? So you want to read it?
Yeah, no, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Yeah,
No, I'd be happy to read it
okay. all
because
right.
there is a lot. Because my folks were here.
Well, that's what we're interested in, is your folks and your,
and that Rollins Road was where my dad was born and grew up, and now it is still Rollins Road.
yeah.
But he stayed until the 8th grade when his dad said, "I'm sorry, but it's time that you left the house because we have no money to send you on to school. So this is the way it is. You have to go out and work."
When he was how old?
He got through the 8th grade.
Oh my goodness! Wow.
And from that, he and his brother and two sisters, had to leave the house and
They didn't
work.
They didn't live there and didn't pay their parents some.
No,
Where did they go?
I was just trying to think where they had to leave. That I'm not sure if I have down, but I'll try to read this to you, which might give it to you a little better.
Okay.
Because I'm telling you, the older I get, my memory is terrible. I keep thinking I'm going to be good, and I think, no, I can't remember that. But I had a pacemaker put in a year ago, and ever since then, my memory is not good. But people have told me that it may not be good for about 6 months or more or a year, and then it will come back to you.
Wow.
And
I never heard that.
yeah, and so I said, okay.
But you know, it isn't just people our age. My son and daughter don't remember anything either.
So, but I said, well, so I will start this, and then if you have any questions, I maybe can answer them better than that. Richard and Lorraine began living in South Newbury while Richard, that's my husband, worked on the farm of Frank Felton Jr. He began that job after leaving Deerfield, New Hampshire, where he was living on a farm, which he owned. I went to school the 5th grade in Deerfield, where I could walk to a one-room school. We lived on the farmer building, which was the golf. Then we came back and lived on the former building on South Road, which was the golf clubhouse building. My dad tended to the cows and the chicken building, which housed many, many chickens. When we moved to South Newbury, I was in the 7th grade. I was born in Concord, New Hampshire. We lived in an apartment in the northern part of Concord. During 1939, we lived in a town near Warner, Melvin Mills. My dad worked in Bradford at the Smith Garage. He walked every day from Melvin Mills to Bradford for 50 cents a day. During this time period, we lived with the Marshall family, as we had very little money. They were so kind to us. Mrs. Marshall made pies, which I loved, and said to her, "How come they are so white? Not really cooked?" She said to me, they look like that because I cook on a wood stove. That was sure a surprise to me, but they were delicious. Later, when we moved to South Newbury, I was in the 7th grade. We had a male teacher who was worthless. Another family and my family got together and had him put out of teaching at the South Newbury School. He did not teach except on days the superintendent was there.
Oh, no.
And that was truthful. That's the only time we studied anything in school, down in that little school. So between my mother and I can't remember the family, and it makes me angry, but that family and my folks, they put him out. And they got, a hold of the right people, and he was dismissed. But then when I got to Sunapee, I was a little in trouble because I couldn't study what. She said, "You mean to say you haven't had that?" I said, "No, I have not." I said, "I was in the school that they didn't teach you anything." So, but to go back a little, we lived in Deerfield when I was in the 6th grade. I could walk to school every day. We lived with a cousin of my grandmother's for a while, until she got very mad at us when she lived in an apartment next to us. This was where this lady lived. It was a long thing like this, and she lived in one end of the house, and we lived in the other. But she'd get mad and say, "What are you doing in my room?" And my mother was never there.
Oh my!
But she'd come back and she'd cry. She'd get mad at my mother and say, "This is not your house, this is my house." And she was crazy. So we finally, that's why we ended up coming to this area. And so after 6 months, we left our apartment there and moved to South Newbury in the golf clubhouse. That's on Route 4. And now I don't know, I think it's a house and all, but it was the golf course house. So
Can I ask you about that, Lorraine? Because that golf course, my great uncle built that golf course.
Oh, okay.
And I don't know much about it.
Mhm.
Was it still operating when you were there?
It was, I think, when we were first there,
When
yes.
you were first there?
Yes,
And
it
then
was.
when you said
It was on the opposite side of the
Okay.
road, yes.
And when you said you took care of the animals, was that at that big barn that's right next door?
The big barn was filled with chickens.
With chickens.
It was filled with chickens.
Interesting.
And then Frank Felton Jr. had a barn on the other side of the golf house.
Okay.
And my dad took care of all the cows there.
Okay.
Now, is this the farm that was eventually the Messers? The big barn, the Messers?
No, it was Dr.
No.
Baker's farm, right?
Oh, okay.
That one?
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
the one Messes is down further.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, because you have to go down South Road and take a left, and
right.
Messers is down below that one.
That's right.
And then
Yeah.
another question, when you were living there, were the Shermans next door, were the Shermans, Ernest and Jean Sherman, were they living at Hope Farm? Did you know them at all?
I think I did.
They were the ones right at the top of South Road at that,
At the corner.
At the corner
Right at the
there.
corner.
I think we did know them.
okay,
Yeah, not really, maybe real well, but I think we did.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, moved to South Newbury in the golf. Okay, and then soon my dad and mom moved to Sunapee and worked for a man on Lake Sunapee property. I stayed in South Newbury for 2 more years, going to the South Newbury School for the 7th and 8th grade. I lived with Phyllis and Frank Felton, helping care for their 2 children. My Mr. Gobert, my dad, no, that I shouldn't have put that in there. I'm sorry. That goes on another paragraph. But every noon, the students went to the to his house. Local. Every day, the students down in South Newbury went to that restaurant.
Yeah, Mrs. Jim's.
Yes, for lunch.
Yeah.
Every day she fed us all. And so every noon the students went to that local restaurant for lunch. And then one day my dad was working at the post office, and the post office had a hand hanging on the wall, dropped on, he had the box hanging on the wall dropped on his hand and almost took off his thumb.
Oh,
I am now 90 years old, was born in Concord, New Hampshire in 1935. I came to the Sunapee area when I was a freshman in high school. I have a sister who is 15 years younger than I am. She lives in Christiansburg, Virginia, with her husband. My husband and I have 4 children, 2 girls and 2 boys, Debbie, Sharon, Brian, and Todd. When I was young, my mom and dad liked to coon hunt, and I always went with them. I sat in the back seat of the car, and when the dog barked as he saw a coon in the tree, my dad went after the coon and shot it with the dog. I enjoyed being with both of my folks and the dog. I went to Sunapee High School and enjoyed having Mrs. Colcord as our English teacher. She couldn't believe that I could not do well in English. That is because in 7th and 8th grades in South Newbury, we did not have a good teacher. Mrs. Colcord did a wonderful job, read all stories, and had excellent teaching for all of them. My mom and I did grocery shopping in Newport A&P and First National. We were able to get shopping by car. My husband worked at Pine Tree Castings and traveled by car to Ruger's and was there for many years. Community was nice here. Had a nice restaurant by the lake, had a nice post office where we got our mail. Newbury had a nice restaurant and ski store to get winter supplies. I am a member of senior organization in Sunapee, help with the blood bank, and president of the women's group in the Methodist Church in Sunapee. Had a group of 10 women who we played with cards in Newbury and Sunapee. I worked for a dentist for several years in Newport, Dr. Holmes. Members of my family are 2 boys and 2 girls, all grown up. One is in Laramie, Wyoming, and one in Grafton, New Hampshire. 2 boys, one in Sunapee and one in Upper Maine. My husband and I have lived in this house for 38 years. Our oldest son building it 38 years ago. And then there has been some new building put up in the past years. Several new houses put up where my folks lived on Route A, which is now called Rollins Road. Years ago, my dad and his folks lived there. When my dad and his brother got to the 8th grade, which I told, their dad said they had to leave school and go to work to help support the family. Sharon, my oldest daughter, waited on table at the restaurant in Newbury for quite a while, and then worked in the store. Can't read my own writing. In Newbury for a while. She is our oldest daughter. And then we had 2 uncles who went down to the stores there. They always took a wagon, and then they had 2 dogs who always walked behind them, tied to the wagon as they came to Newbury store often in Newbury.
Is that the Rollins brothers?
That's the Rollins brothers.
They're your uncles?
They were our uncles. Yeah. Yeah.
we've heard a lot about them.
Yes, yes. And always when they were taken to the church, to the hospital, the first thing they got was a shower because they needed it. And I always remember the nurse saying to me, that was the first thing we did when they came through that door, was they got bathed. They had a shower. And so,
were they your related to your father or your mother?
they would have been my father.
Your father,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, I was thinking it looked like I left a page, but I guess not.
So now, the house you lived on Rollins Road, is that still there?
I was trying to think. I don't think so.
Perhaps no.
I don't think so. The only one that I know is there is that one up Rollins Road.
Yeah.
And that is, and I'm not sure if that is still there or not. And I couldn't bring it because it's so heavy. I have a picture at home.
Oh.
And it shows the house that the family lived in. And it is very, very small. And on that picture is my dad, 10 years old, with his first deer.
Oh.
And he's got it hanging in that
Oh.
picture of that,
Oh.
in that picture.
Well,
Yeah.
now,
He was 10
maybe
years old.
Maybe that was the house that the Rollins brothers later lived in.
Yeah, I think it might have been.
Oh, so it was small.
Yeah, it was small. Yeah.
And that house burned down, right?
Yeah.
Didn't that house burn
Yes.
down in a fire?
Yeah,
Oh, the one
The
that,
little one?
that they
that
lived
the
lived
little
in?
one. Oh, okay.
I think.
yeah,
Yeah, I
yes,
think
Could have
that's
been.
what- yeah.
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 And yeah, I think it just seemed like I missed one of these here. But maybe I said I didn't think it would take me too long
So
to
now,
read
how many
it, but
brothers and sisters did you have?
I have one sister.
Oh, then that was it. Oh no, you had two brothers because they had to go out and work.
No, that was
No.
her father.
Oh, your father. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that was my dad. No,
Yes, yes.
no, I have no brothers.
Right, just the sister.
And just a
now
sister.
Your father had two brothers, and did he have sisters too?
He had two sisters.
Oh,
Yeah, one lived in Keene. One had 10 children.
Whoa.
oh my word.
Yeah, 10 children. And then he had a sister who lived in Plymouth, New Hampshire. And we saw her a lot as they were young. But we went up there a lot because my dad's dad lived there
Oh,
with his daughter.
Yeah.
And so we got there a lot for that. And then the sad thing was that with that sister, she had a boy who died in the Second World War because he was on board ship, and it got people bombed it, and he was one of them there, so he was gone.
There were a number from here in Newbury that went in World War II.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for
So
a small town.
yeah, and so
Lorraine,
Mhm.
when your dad was sent out after 8th grade to work, what kind of work did he do? Do you know?
He worked on a farm, didn't he?
I'm just trying to think if I can remember when he was sent out, what he did do. Yeah. Yeah, and I should remember, but I'm not sure that I'm trying to think what he did do for work. Yeah, yes,
Excuse me.
he worked in Bradford at the Smith's Garage.
Oh, you said that. Okay.
Right,
Yes.
right.
That's what he did do. And he walked there every day for 50 cents. Yeah, yeah. But we were just lucky because it was during the bad, not weather, the bad money time. We had a family down in Melvin Mills that said that we could live with them. And so we lived there for a long time. And then now the house is still there across the river that we lived in there with them
Really?
also. Yes. And that's the one where I asked the lady about her pies.
Yeah.
And her name was, we called her Grammy Marshall. But they were white, just white. And she said that's just because she cooks on a wood stove. So
I
yeah.
don't believe
But that house is still there.
It is still
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. And they had a daughter. That we called her Grammy Marshall. But she had a daughter and grew up, and we knew her as she got older. Yeah.
Now, did they have the cheese factory there in Melvin Mills when you lived there, or was that?
No.
Oh, that would have been before. That was my parents,
Okay.
or my mother going back and forth on the train, and she said it used to smell so bad that
No.
they'd hold their nose on the train all the time.
Oh, yeah, because of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I hope I haven't forgotten anything to read to you. It just seemed like it went fast. When I read it at home, I thought it was longer.
And
yeah.
what do you have for memories of your mother? You've mentioned your father a lot, but
Just thinking about my mother. Isn't that interesting? That
was she pretty serious? Well, she probably was worried a good share of the time.
I was just trying to think about my mom. Isn't that funny? My mother worked for Jack Maxfield
Oh,
for years
oh,
up in Newport when he was a doctor
yeah, right.
in the brick building.
Right.
She worked for him then for many years.
Oh, but
Yeah.
now how did she get to work?
She drove, had a car, and drove to work. Yeah, no, that's right. My mom, and she did. She worked for him for many years, and then finally, then she worked for a man in Newport, and so. But I also, and I know very little about him. I had a relative, just as you went up to Jack Maxfield's house, right on the road. And he was an uncle of somebody, but I saw him so little that I knew very little about him. And he was across the street from a man there who, and I should remember his name, you might remember him, but he was on that road as you turn in to go
up
to the restaurant. Yeah, so, but a lot of this, as I said, my memory isn't as good as I would like it, so
Well, I think you do very well.
Yep. And then the other thing, my dad worked for Mr. Gobert, who has the development above us, and he worked for him, put up lots of houses for him. Yeah, he did that. So,
But your husband worked at Ruger.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. He actually worked for the Ruger is the main building, but he worked
Oh, yes, Pine Tree Casting.
Pine Tree Casting.
But now, did you work outside the home ever?
Yes, I did. I worked for a dentist.
That you said you did.
Yeah,
Yes,
I worked for a
that's right.
dentist for years.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I was trying to think of anything else I did. But I worked for two dentists, I guess. Yes, I did. Yeah, I worked for two dentists. Yeah.
Is there anything else that you can remember that you won? Or what about, were there any legends or anything here in Newbury that you remember or got a kick out of, or?
Well, the main thing was those two uncles. We thought a lot about that. and then my daughter worked at the store.
Right.
And then she worked at the restaurant.
Yeah.
That's our oldest girl,
Yeah, Sharon.
Sharon.
How about your husband? How did you meet him? Was he from here locally?
No, my husband. I have to stop and think. My husband is from Illinois, very close to Chicago, and that's where he came from. But I was trying to think how I met him. You know, that's another one of those things. Yeah, but I met him through Dick. No. I was a person. My husband was in the service, and he came to Dick Leone, if either of you know him, and he brought him and said, would you go to a movie with us? So I said, yes. So he took me to the movies, and that was how I met him.
How about that?
And
You've been married a long time.
yes, 72 years.
Wow.
72
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, 72 years. Yeah, we've been together,
Wow.
and we've done well together, and
Yeah.
happy to be together. And my daughter, my second daughter, last year gave us our 71 anniversary party. We had about 60 people there. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you're very well
Yeah,
known and well liked.
Yeah.
Yes.
yeah. So, yeah, but
Has Newbury changed much over the years? Because I realize you live in Sunapee now, but
well, mostly I think the boats. You know, and those big things they have on the woods when they put them away for the winter. And I would say that's mostly it. Trying to think if we did anything else. There's a yellow house there that's before your house. It's on the right-hand side. My dad worked in that. He did all those stairs, and that's still there.
it's the gingerbread house.
Oh, yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
that, oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he worked on those
Yeah,
stairs.
he did. Yes, he did a lot of work on that house.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, yeah. And did some work down on the side roads
Yeah.
that were people that they rented them out.
Yeah.
My dad did a lot of work down there with those different houses. Yeah. And, so, yeah. Just a lot of it I just don't remember.
What did you do when you say lived the 2 years in South Newbury? Did you come up to the lake to swim?
No, I don't think so.
You didn't.
No.
And of course, the mountain wasn't
No, wasn't.
a ski area then.
No. And I just want to make sure I did read that I did read all this.
Well, is there anything we didn't cover that we should?
Let me look at my list. Lorraine, are there any special people that you remember from growing up that stood out as interesting or worth remembering?
Her uncles.
Besides the uncles?
Yeah, the two uncles that had the wagon. Yeah, the two uncles that had the wagon. Well, once in a while, my dad had a boy and a girl. And once in a while, he would come to see my dad. We almost never saw the daughter. And it was just one of those things that they didn't jive together. And so mainly, but he did, every once in a while, the brother would come and talk to his dad. And but other than that, I can't think of a lot that, they didn't have much to do with their family, really. Yeah. And for one reason or another, just one of those things. And, yeah, but I think. But he did. I worked for the Feltons, taking care of their two children, and also helped with Frank Felton. And he had the disease of that you pass out, or you.
Epilepsy?
Narcolepsy or
No, not that. Because
when you fall asleep?
Diabetes?
yes, because I had to kind of keep watch of him, and when I lived there with them, I was careful because he came in one day to the kitchen and I said, Frank, what is wrong with you? I said, you need to have something sweet. You stand right there. I will get something to give you. I said, otherwise you're going to pass out on me, and I don't want that. Because he had that sugar
Yeah, the
came.
diabetes. Yeah.
And so I quickly gave him sugar to eat.
So you knew that what would help.
Yeah, because I knew what he had to take. And so he said, okay. I said, I'll get it for you right away.
But he didn't sense that he needed it as much as you could
Well,
see?
he might have, but he just didn't want to do anything about it.
Oh.
He just sort of came in and stood in the kitchen and just thought
You could tell
about
something
stuff.
was wrong.
Yeah.
You could tell something.
But I said, I'm going to get you something sweet right away. Yeah. Yeah. But then one of the funny things when I worked there with her, she had some cheese in the refrigerator. It was that bad,
Sticky cheese?
cheese.
Limburger? Or?
The black stuff or whatever it is.
Blue cheese.
Blue cheese. And I was cleaning out her refrigerator one day. And so I took out the blue cheese and I threw it away. And she was coming one day to go to a card party. Phyllis was. And she said, Lorraine, where's that blue cheese? I said, I'm sorry. I threw it away. She said, oh, that's my blue cheese. So, she didn't get over that for the longest time. I said, I'm sorry, but I didn't like the looks of it, so I threw it out. And she said, well, don't ever do it again, please. I said, I won't. But I never forgot that because she just thought that, I thought that blue cheese, I don't want that in there. So
It does smell pretty bad.
So she was just funny about that, but pretty much we got along pretty well. And a lot of things, probably things I've forgotten to tell you, which because I tried to make sure. But mainly, we enjoyed that restaurant down there on the road by the school.
Yeah.
Because they fed us every day. And then my mother went to the Grange Hall across the street. She did all that while we lived in South Newbury.
Was she a member of the Grange?
Yes, she was.
Oh.
Mhm.
Did you go to that church?
Yes, I did. I went to Sunday school there,
Yeah.
for one thing. Yeah.
Do you remember who the minister was then?
No, I don't. No, I don't.
Most people don't.
No, I don't. And
But the Grange was quite active, wasn't
yes,
it?
it was. Yeah. And my mother went to that. Yeah.
Were you involved
Very
with the
active.
Grange?
No, I was not. No.
She was too young. I mean, they.
Well, also you were working for Phyllis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I did some work for the lady in I've forgotten her name now. They lived after the golf course was gone. She's a lady that had money. They had a nice house over there for a long time, but that was after we had moved up to Sunapee. But I remember her, and But the golf was very popular. But it was funny that we were put into the golf house.
Yeah.
And so we lived there for a long time. Yeah. And then my dad used to do a lot with the people that go by that house and go to the right. I've forgotten his name. And he did a lot.
Brown Road, but I don't know the.
He did a lot with the man up there, my dad. Yeah.
I can't think either.
Yeah.
I know who you mean.
You
but
know
can't
I
think of
mean,
it.
yes.
Yep.
Yeah, they lived up there for a long time.
Oh yes.
Yeah. And my dad was a very good friend of his. And so other than that, I don't know what else I can tell you.
Well, thank you very much. This has been delightful. I've had a good time.
Because I tried to make sure that I did it all that I wrote, but I think I did.
I think it does always seem longer when you've written, and if you read it out loud yourself, it seems so much longer than when you get up and read it. Then it goes a lot faster, I think.
I can't remember if you said the date at the beginning of
No.
this.
What is the date?
The date is April 8th today?
Yes.
April 8th,
2026.
26, and we're at the public library. And also sitting off camera is Leah McBain and Sally Harris.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I just
forgot you
I just
guys.
thought it of it at the end that we should.
I forgot
Stayed
you
it.
It's
guys.
in there now?
Yep.